Airlines avoiding China as world leaders declare a global emergency over the coronavirus.
Local leaders explaining just how the new North American trade agreement will aid efforts to cut down on the sewage from Tijuana.
And getting a look at the state-of-the-art fighter jet that just arrived at MCAS Miramar. 10 News Midday starts now.
Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
Now, as we have told you, here in San Diego, the possible case of coronavirus turned out to be a false alarm. But around the world, extra precautions are being taken to try to contain the virus. I'm Virginia Cha.
And I'm Jim Patton. Multiple U.S. airlines suspending flights to and from China this morning, and hundreds of Americans who were evacuated from the country now facing weeks of quarantine. ABC's Trevor Ault has more on the outbreak.
Global and domestic agencies continue to be on edge as the coronavirus stretches around the globe. The U.S. State Department issuing a red alert telling Americans not to travel to China because of the public health threat, and the World Health Organization declaring a public health emergency.
The only way we will defeat this outbreak is for all countries to work together in a spirit of solidarity and cooperation.
While the total number of cases globally is approaching 10,000, so far in the U.S. there are 6. On Thursday, the CDC confirmed the first case of human-to-human transmission of the coronavirus in the U.S. just outside Chicago. The patient, a man in his 60s, who contracted it from his wife after she returned from a trip to China and was diagnosed earlier this month.
He recently began reporting symptoms and was admitted to the hospital and placed in an isolation room where he is in stable condition.
All 6 American cases are currently in isolation and reported to be in stable to good condition. But at a military base in California, nearly 200 Americans evacuated from the epicenter in China are still in quarantine, including New York native Jared Evans.
It was completely chaos. I didn't know, or any other American citizens at the time didn't know that the U.S. was coming to get us. So we were doing our job to stay safe and survive.
Across the country, we're seeing more and more people wearing facial masks, but the Centers for Disease Control only recommends that for patients who are already diagnosed with the virus to avoid contaminating others. It's not recommended for the general public. Officials suggesting the mask could even increase the risk of becoming contaminated and serve as a source of infection. Delta, United, and American Airlines have all now announced they are suspending travel to and from China, and Senator Ted Cruz is calling for an outright travel ban with China until the virus is fully contained. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
New today, shots fired at the Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida after a security breach. Police say officers opened fire on a pair of suspects in an SUV that breached security checkpoints near the entrance of the resort. They say the SUV sped off after being shot at by officers. Authorities caught up with it shortly thereafter and eventually arrested 2 people. It's unclear if anyone was injured. The president wasn't there at the time, but is scheduled to arrive later today.
At least 1 person was killed in a crash on the 5 North near Camp Pendleton. Sky 10 was over that scene near the Aliso Creek rest area just before 7 this morning. We are still working to find out more details about this crash, but you can see that lanes were shut down while the CHP investigated, backing up traffic for miles.
And meanwhile, another deadly crash in North County this morning. Multi-car collision. It happened just before 8 along Harmony Grove Road. Highway Patrol says 1 car suddenly crossed over into oncoming traffic, running into 2 vehicles. Driver of the car that crossed the traffic was killed. CHP didn't say what may have caused that driver to change lanes, but say everyone else involved escaped with minor injuries.
So the San Diego Unified School District is warning families of a possible breach of the district's web portal for students. The district put out a statement today saying they discovered vulnerabilities earlier this week. They notified San Diego police and that they're also working with the county to investigate. They say the Aries student portal was the only system affected, but it's not clear what, if any, information may have been accessed. They say the portal will be down until further notice. So local leaders say they are fighting for the $300 million set aside to clean up the Tijuana River Valley. That money coming from the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement signed by President Trump on Wednesday. 10
News reporter Cassie Carlisle live at Bayside Park with a press conference wrapped up an hour ago. And Cassie, they're saying it's going to take months to get a plan together.
Exactly right. Good morning, Jim and Virginia. Now, politicians are saying that all $300 million spread out over 4 years is specifically earmarked for the Tijuana River Valley on the U.S. side.
Leaders said it was the military impact that caught the attention of the president.
You look over my right shoulder, there's $1 billion that the U.S. government is investing in the SEAL training facility. They can't train all the time because of sewage that comes up on the beaches. Also, the Border Patrol. They are traipsing through all sorts of bad stuff in the Tijuana River Valley.
Saying March 9th, they will meet in Coronado with the Environmental Protection Agency to present their plan.
We are focusing on a 163 million gallon a day sewage treatment facility to be built on the U.S. side of the border.
They stated the U.S. is putting $1.5 billion into a transnational bank that Mexico will match so they can create solutions on their side of the border.
Now, Representative Scott Peters says that he likes those lawsuits that are regarding the Tijuana sewage, saying that he infers, rather, that it puts pressure on Washington to ensure that all of the money is spent here in the San Diego region. And other representatives said that those lawsuits are stayed as of right now. Reporting live here on Bayside Park, Kessie Carlisle, 10 News.
The Marines unveiling their newest weapon to local leaders today, the F-35C. The F-35 is the most technologically advanced jet in the world. F-35C is the carrier version. The first one landed at Miramar Tuesday. 2 more are expected soon. F-35 will replace the F-18 currently on base, and Lieutenant Colonel Cedar Hinton says it's quite an upgrade, especially from the pilot's perspective.
High resolution, full color, and that sounds silly, but in the old F-18, that full color was not, it was a luxury. So
it's definitely the future.
Yeah, it's definitely the future.
Plan is to bring in 75 F-35Cs over the next 10 years.
Toxic pollutants are known to linger in the air near our San Diego port communities. Well, this morning the state launched a new multi-million-dollar program to help change that. 10 News reporter Natay Holmes joins us live from the Port of San Diego's Marine Terminal. Natay, this is something a lot of people in that area say is needed.
That's right. Now, the program will help businesses buy equipment that will help reduce poor air quality. Now, when you think of electric vehicles, some may think of the smaller cars, but this program will include trucks that will help pull trailers like these of over 100,000 pounds.
This truck can run over 16 hours of typical heavy-duty terminal service that loads up to 130,000 pounds combined between the truck and the trailers. And it charges in 2 to 4 hours, depending what size plug they put on the truck. And we're even working on a newer technology for the Port of Long Beach on a program where we're going to have a robotic charging system.
Local leaders were on hand this morning as the California Air Resources Board launched its $44 million Clean Off-Road Equipment Voucher Incentive Project, also known as CORE.
Because cleaner air means a better quality of life for our neighboring communities.
The program will subsidize funding for purchasing the electric vehicles or equipment. The hope is to see more of this technology used at ports, distribution centers, airports, and rail yards. Communities like here in Barrio Logan have suffered for years with high air pollution. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, residents in Barrio Logan experience asthma more than twice the national average. Local leaders believe the project will help reduce pollutants for those living in port communities. Live in Barrio Logan, Natay Holmes, 10 News.
Very interesting. Natay, thank you.